Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleone Crawford. Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleone Crawford. Well, guys, we have a special guest with us today. Today, we have Steven Perkins with us. Who is Steven Perkins? Well, Steven Perkins is an entrepreneur and he's a mentor. Steven Perkins is an innovative entrepreneur dedicated to empowering individuals through education and mentorship. As the founder of ReemHub, a platform offering free self-help courses and financial literacy guidance, Steven simplifies complex concepts to help others achieve financial freedom and personal growth. With expertise in credit repair, affiliate marketing, and passive income strategies, Steven inspires his community to build sustainable wealth. His diverse ventures include a fragrance business, vending machine enterprise, and creative event planning, reflecting his entrepreneurial versatility. A devoted family man and advocate for lifelong learning, Steven's mission is to help others unlock their potential and live meaningful lives. So with that said, I now present to you Steven Perkins. So Steven, how are you doing today? Where you tuning in from?
Oh, well, I'm blessed. Thank you for asking, first and foremost. I'm glad that you're doing well as well. I'm tuning in from Compton, California today.
Okay, cool. So Steven, tell us a little bit more about your profession. How did you get started? Why do you do what you do? And just break us down what you do.
Yeah, so my profession was one that kind of it just happened naturally for me. Um, all my life I've been like a jack of all trades kind of guy. I loved being experienced in various different areas, and I never liked to have my, thumb stamped in one place. I've been a sponge all my life, so I've learned everything. I'm a fast learner, which is a blessing for me. But as far as my profession, it's multi-layered. It's like I said, I have a fragrance business. That's the first business that I started. My first LLC being Kareem's Essentials LLC. And I just like fragrances. It's something about, the body oils and the things that they do for people. Someone wearing a good fragrance, it makes them feel good. Somebody walk by and smell it, it makes them feel good as well. Um, so I just love being of service to others. And that's essentially how I got into all of the things that I've got into. And, to be honest, it wasn't something that I've dreamed about all my life, that I've strived for all my life. Like I said, it just kind of happened naturally for me. Um, and so what I'm most into these days is affiliate marketing. And I'm in a real innovative space with that. Uh, I find a real great joy into being able to help others navigate in that field. The reason being is because it is like the lowest hanging fruit, meaning not everybody can create a product or a service, which would prevent a lot of people from going into business. But if you can take someone's product or service and, promote it and put it out there and make a commission for it, you can make a business out of that. So what I do is I create affiliate business systems for people using a hub-centric business model, which allow them to earn passive income streams. People that never would have thought that they would ever be able to get into business. And that's the most fulfilling thing that I've done in my life thus far.
Cool. I like that. That's really interesting. I probably will be calling you about some stuff about the affiliate marketing because I do have my YouTube channel and I will be launching a new channel in the next little while, um, where I want to do some affiliate marketing because I'm learning about it right now. So it's something that I'm definitely interested in. So I definitely will
Yeah.
call you on the off line after we do this interview and stuff
Right.
like
Oh yeah, tap
that.
in for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
cool, cool. So, my friend, that's really interesting. It sounds really interesting what you're doing. So we're gonna move into the mental health part of this interview.
Mhm.
So first, I'd like to ask my question is, what is your mental health diagnosis and when were you diagnosed?
So my mental health diagnosis is chronic depression. I was diagnosed with chronic depression in 2015. At that time, I was already about 27 years old. Um, and it's something that I've struggled with my entire life. You know, I can remember being heavily depressed as a child and just not understanding why I felt the way that I felt, why I've done the things that I've done, why I shied away from, others and situations and isolated in a way in which I've done. And it has been a huge hindrance on my life, and it negatively impacted me in a lot of different ways. It had a lot of strongholds on me, prevented me from engaging in a lot of different things. And the problem with that is that, you know, depression is one of those silent killers. It's real sneaky. It's something that you can render as natural or normal because everybody gets down, everybody gets, sad. But when it's chronic like that, it's hard for an individual to actually understand what's really going on because you kind of like trapped inside of that abyss. And so for the large part of my life, I was trying to figure out what was going on inside of me without the ability to express what was going on inside of me. And I never even knew that, you know, depression in that sense, it was actually a mental health issue, which further extended my depression state.
Okay, okay. So with that said, I'd like to know, so maybe you can walk us through your journey. Tell us a bit
Okay.
more about your mental health story of resilience. What did you have to go through? Like when you figured out that just walk us from the beginning
Okay.
and to how you were able to be resilient despite that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So in the beginning, well, first of all, I was born and raised in Compton, California. Um, Anybody who heard about it may have heard of the negativity, within that city, the heavy gangs and stuff like that. And I eventually got into all of that, but it stemmed from like my childhood growing up in a household of women. Uh, there was no male role models, like aside from my grandfather before he passed when I was a young boy. Um, Around the age of 5 or 6, right? My dad wasn't around. He was always in and out of prison, stuff like that. And so one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was playing sports. And I got really good at sports. But the one thing with sports was that the women in my family, my auntie grew up in my household, my mother, my grandmother, and then I have 3 younger sisters. They were not interested in that type of stuff.
Right.
So, I would go and perform, and that's where I wouldn't have to worry about like, everything that's happening around me. I could focus on the game. I would have so much fun, and I would carry that euphoria with me home, and I would be talking about, how well I did, how many points I've scored, and things of that nature. And they really wasn't interested.
Yeah.
Uh, so I would be at my games, and I would see other teammates have their family, their fathers, stuff like that in the stands. I had no one. Um, and it was more of the same for me. During like holidays, I wouldn't get gifts. My family was lacking financially. And me, I'm the oldest of my youngest siblings. So my oldest sister is a year under me. So not just in my household, but in any family, the majority of the time, what happens is that you have kids back to back that fast. Well, the oldest one is no longer the baby. The attention kind of goes more to the baby, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, I would just remember experiencing all those different things. Uh, I had an anger inside of me, an anger in which I had absolutely no idea where it came from, where it stemmed from. Of course, I know where it came from today, but just back then, I was just like always sad, always angry. And the emotion, the outburst that I can remember, it happened in 1996. It was in September of 1996 when the rapper Tupac Shakur, when it was announced that he died, you know, and he had been killed and stuff. Um, I was born in '87, so at '96, you know, I was less than 10 years old, but he had an influence and impact on my life. You know, a lot of the songs I was singing, I really didn't understand the context of it or the words of it or whatever, but the passion in the music, it really helped me get through a lot of my times. And so I just remember being in my grandmother's backyard with my little radio, and Tupac songs was playing on repeat. Like all of his songs was playing. It's something that they did to pay homage to a person when they passed away. And you know, I thought it was just an amazing day. Like, wow, they playing all the good Tupac songs and stuff. And then, you know, during the break, it was announced that, you know, rest in peace, rapper Tupac Shakur. And I just lost my mind. I couldn't believe it. Like, that Pac died. I slammed my radio, broke it, things of that nature. But I couldn't even comprehend what was going on inside of me, why I felt the way that I felt, you know, about this total stranger and things of that nature. But you know, it's hard to connect the dots moving forward. But looking back in hindsight, I can see how all these different things impacted my life. Um, so losing my grandfather, he was the man of the house, a very stern, a very integral man, morally grounded, and he took care of home. Uh, so when he passed away, with him went the structure. So I can understand today the turmoil, the hurt, the pain that my grandmother, mother, my auntie, everybody could have went through during those times. But during those times, what they could not understand is that while they were grieving and trying to get through and process that loss, I too was grieving, and I didn't know what was going on, right? And the way that that news was revealed to me, my grandfather, I can remember him getting home from work, and it was always around 5:30. I didn't know how to tell time at this time. So what I would do is I would go in the kitchen, look at the microwave, that digital clock. I know when it said that 5:30, he would be coming sometime soon. And one day he just didn't come. And, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking, I'm going back and forth, and I'm looking at the clock, and it's getting later and later and later. I can't recall where everybody else was at this time or what was going on at this time. But I remember a cousin of mine being at the house, and I remember him being like teasing me, like, man, what are you doing? What you doing? Come on, this, that, and the third. And I was like, man, I'm waiting on grandpa. I'm waiting on grandpa to come back, man. I don't want to deal with you right now. And he was like, man, grandpa ain't coming back. I said, what you talking about? He said, man, grandpa died. And so this is the first time I was delivered some type of news like this. And mind you, I'm about 6 years old. And I didn't know what death meant or any of that. But I just remembered, I never forgot that moment and how it made me feel, because I attached it to the fact that he said grandpa was never coming back. So I was never tended to. Nobody ever checked in with me. How you doing? How you processing this? You know, so for a long time, I was grieving on my own and trying to figure those things out on my own. So it caused my introversion to become extremely deep rooted. I became very introverted. And there was a lot of times that, you know, we'd be going somewhere to church or wherever, and my grandmother would just look over at me in the passenger seat, like, why are you so quiet? Like, why you don't ever say nothing? And it been a lot of incidences where I just couldn't like respond to a lot of different things. Um, so that was the hardest part, like to navigate through life, not being able to communicate with others, not being able to process my feelings, like not having any type of emotional intelligence, and also not receiving any type of love like that in the household. It wasn't nurturing for me. So those were a lot of the things that I've had to grow through and deal with in life in general. And to quickly speak about like how I got into the streets and the negativity, like that was embracing for me. You know, those were the male figures that I were around. Those were the people that I can lean on. And so I got involved in things that didn't really sit or align with my moral values or my integrity, right? But I sacrificed those things for the embracing. the love aspect to be able to receive the acceptance from others. Um, those things, unbeknownst to me at that time, further affected me because I would be standing out there or we would be doing things and people would be enemies to us. Like I inherited these enemies, don't even know why I inherited these enemies behind, being a part of a gang. Um, all the while not necessarily even agreeing with the things that we were engaging in. So now I have these unprocessed emotions, unfiltered, not knowing how to navigate these. I didn't turn into somebody completely who I'm not, living a lifestyle that I absolutely don't want to identify with, but has been becoming second nature. And so that also added to the hardships in life, right? And me not being able to understand like who you are, who I am as a man, what it is that I actually stand for, because I'm over here standing for something that I don't even agree with. Uh, and I eventually went to prison. Dropped out of high school, I went to prison. Um, I did 15 years in a state prison, consecutive years. And it was during that time where my mental health diagnosis came about in 2015. I was incarcerated in 2008, though. So the early part of my sentence, I still hadn't understood what was going on, why I was so angry, why I was dealing with the things that I was dealing with. Um, but I began to educate myself. I began to learn. I got a college degree, completed countless trades and vocations and certifications and things of that nature. But I attended a lot of groups, self-help groups. And in these self-help groups, I was taught principles, concepts. I was taught tools to help me deal with, internal stress and triggers and different things of that way. And I eventually understood that, all this anger is coming from this pain. You know what I mean? Like I was hurt. I grew up hurt. I grew up with a lack of understanding of why I was hurt. And that made me angry. Um, and for a man, being hurt and experiencing pain is not something that you can actually go out there and put out in the world comfortably, without being ridiculed or without being shut down, without being brushed to the side, because you're a man, you strong, you don't talk about these things, you don't have hurt and pain inside of you, you got to man up. So I was really forced to eat that. I couldn't go home to my mom and be like, because my mom was a catalyst of that as well. She was also, boy, shut up, you go somewhere. And when I say lack of nurturing, it was times where I'd be, mama, I'm hungry, and the response will be, well, go to sleep, you won't be hungry. But
Mm,
it's like, how could I sleep on an empty stomach?
mm,
And so you just being talked to, treated that way. I never knew at the time, but I know today is that like when you deal with those things, you don't, well, I don't not love my mother. It doesn't make me like dislike my mom or hate my mom or not love my mom, shall I say. But what it did was it made me stop loving myself. It
yeah.
made me feel unworthy and things of that nature. And so I didn't understand that. But anyway, doing these groups, I decided to start going to therapy. I received a counselor and we talked about a lot of different things. And, it was determined that I was chronically depressed.
Mm,
And yeah, once I understood and I accepted that, I was able to start changing my life for the better, seeing things for what they were, uh, finding new hope, uh, encouragement, developing goals, dreaming. I had a purpose now for my life, through the things that we talked about, like when we have our meetings, we would set little mini goals. This week I want you to do this, start talking to more people, start opening up, start, and all those different things that I was engaging with helped me to become the man that I am today.
amazing. What a story. I love that. I love your testimony. There was a lot of things that highlighted to me as a mother to a son who's autistic, I recently lost my father as well.
Sorry to
Um,
hear that.
okay, he passed away in August, and my son is 7. So I one thing that stuck out to me is you need to check in with your son to make sure that he's processing the the death of the loss of his grandfather well,
Sure.
because sometimes we think we may be we think we know that our feelings are valid, but we don't
Mhm.
realize what the feelings of a child is and what
Right.
they're going through. So it just gave me something to think about, that sometimes we
Hmm.
check in with our children just to make sure that their emotional intelligence is regulated, and that they are able to express themselves, and make sure that they know that if they feel sad and they feel mad or angry or whatever feelings that they're having, that they're valid.
Right.
Yeah, because yeah. So my next question to you is, what did you have to do to overcome or bounce back from all your low points? List all the resources. You listed a few about the therapy and the self-help groups. Is there anything else that you wanted to point to this?
I mean, it was just the positive reinforcements, just to impress upon my subconscious mind that, that those things that I've experienced were only experiences. It's not who I am. Uh, I have the ability to shape and to mold myself, and I didn't have to be or sit with or hold on to those things. I could release them. So just being able to release those emotions and those feelings allowed me to grow, and not necessarily release them by saying like, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to deal with that. Like I'm gonna just block that out, but release them by finding understanding. Why did this happen? Why did you feel this way during that time? Okay, I understand. I absorbed the lesson, the message behind that, and then letting it go, right? And then making progress, like never looking back, kind of making progress, because those self-limiting beliefs is ultimately what kept me down. Um, Feelings of I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve love, and things of that nature. And those things that come from my childhood as a boy. How could I, as a young boy, not deserve to be loved, or be considered unworthy? So in adulthood, I'm able to understand those concepts like, wait, man, you have these things subconsciously rooted in you that are untrue. And I started to reshape my beliefs. And I also started to enforce uh, positivity into my life by, as I was saying, my education and all of the accomplishments that I was able to achieve, the certifications and things like that that I was able to be proud of on my own. Getting certificates that, and they became something that I can hold on to, and it was really just for me,
Yes.
just for me. I didn't get a certificate to say, "Look, mom, look what I did," or "Look, dad," or "Look, granny." You know, um, like when I was a kid in sports, where I really needed that. Like I
Yes.
needed something different from me in adulthood, and so those were the things that helped me make the advancements that I made in my life, and just being able to let go of the mistakes also that I made in life.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Wow. So what are three things you wish you had available when you were at your lowest point?
Um, Three things that I wish that I had available when I was at my lowest point. First and foremost, I really wish that I had my father present. And the crazy thing about it is that I never really knew how much I really truly wish that I did. Uh, Trying to figure out how to be a man was hard for me without that guidance, right? And so I just clinged on to everything that I saw around me. And for the most part, it was that, you got to be tough. You got to have a sense of direction. You got to know, you know what I mean? You got to be a leader and those things, right? I didn't know how to be a leader. I didn't really know what being tough was. Only thing I knew about being tough was what I was taught in the streets. or what I was forced to believe in the household, that men don't cry, that all these different things. Um, so the need for, the yearn for having my father presence, just naturally, just someone being the person that I'm supposed to get guidance from, and things of that nature. Those were things that I stuffed inside. Those feelings of the need and the want to have a father, because I felt as though, like, you don't need anything. You don't really. So what is he? He's gone, and that was to kind of like uh blanket the hurt and the pain, and the lack of his presence, by simply saying that, man, I don't care if he's here or not. I don't need this person. Like, I'm good, without him. But in our reality, when I look back, I really did wish that I had him in my life.
Yeah.
And that's one. But another thing is that I wish I had money. And the reason why is because the lifestyle, it was hard growing up, really hard growing up. Uh, I didn't really have the essential things that I would need. Uh, my clothes and stuff like that was like hand-me-downs from family members. Uh, no name brand shoes and stuff like that, that would get me teased and laughed at in school. Uh, was hard to deal with. And it further added to the depression, my depressive state. Uh, so I wish I had those things. I feel like if I did have those things, things would be a lot different. Maybe my parents and stuff would be happy. Maybe I would have been able to get some of the things that I wanted or needed in life, uh, to put me in the position to be successful. Um, but not having money and not having those things, it put me in a lack mind state. And that's something that I also had to discover, right? So when I started working on myself and doing things, and building and developing my business and stuff, like, I'm coming from a lack mindset, subconsciously. When you're a kid and you're told that, no, you cannot have that, put that down, put that back. We can't afford that. We can't lack, right? Subconsciously, unbeknownst to me, those things are instilled in me into my adulthood. So now I'm putting that in play in front of anything that I want to do. I'm shortening my reach because I'm subconsciously telling myself that, man, you can't have that. You can't go get that. You don't deserve that. I'm coming from a lack mindset. So I had to retrain my subconscious mind so that I can think from a place of abundance. And it's too many of us that don't understand that, when we out here in the blind leading the blind, because that reinforcement is powerful, like very, very powerful. And if you got a bunch of people that all think the same, we can't have this, we can't have that. And that is exactly why you may hear the term that you're the sum of the five people that you're closest to, right? You're gonna be like them. You're gonna be in the same category, as far as financially and elsewise. It's because of the way that you think and the influence that we all have upon each other. So that's why I wish I had money, not for the sake of like just being rich. I just wish I would have been able to do certain things. But at the same time, I valued the lessons that I've learned from not having that. So that was a blessing also. It's the two sides to the coin. And I just wish that I had somebody that understood me. And that's hard to ask for because I really couldn't even understand myself, right? And so I guess in a way that is like kind of sort of to say that I wish somebody would have been able to figure it out for me, right? And that also comes from that lack of mindset. Like, I can't figure it out. Somebody do it for me, right? But no, truly, if somebody would have been able to understand, or and even if not necessarily understand, but I'm just saying that for the lack of a better way to put it, it's somebody that I could really talk to and connect with on that level, right? Because once I understood that life was so much bigger than me, and I stopped focusing on just me and what I'm going through and what I want and those things, and that everybody was unique and special, and everybody also uh had equal opportunity and deservings of the things in life that they wish to desire, uh, that's when I was able to start flourishing, right? Start putting that selfishness to the side, that ego to the side, and start helping people and all that. Like Zig Ziglar he has a saying, and I'm gonna completely butcher it because I don't know it. By verbatim, but he basically says that, man, you can get whatever you want if you help enough people get what they want in life.
Right.
In a nutshell. And I find that to be like, oh, so true. Oh, so true. Yeah. So those are the things that I wish I had.
Amazing. Amazing. Love that. Love that. So what words of hope would you give to our listeners? What would you tell to someone who's been in your shoes?
I would tell someone that been in my shoes that, life is a learning process. That be patient with life. Have grace on yourself. We're going to continue to learn ourselves to the day that we die. Uh, and that's a part of our growth. And, it's a reality that everything in life, no matter what it is, the moment that it stops growing, it starts dying immediately. So those struggles, those pains, those things are testaments of our growth. You know what I'm saying? Like, just understand that those feelings are there because you're not comfortable with where you are. And if you're not comfortable with where you are and you feel in that way, that's a sign of like growth. You're growing. So just be patient, uh, and have grace on yourself. Like one of the things I tell my kids, man, they want to be grown so bad, right? So bad. And they are now, at 18 and the 17-year-old, they are now. But it's just when you're young, you want to learn everything, you want to become responsible, you want to be an adult. And it's like, listen, you know, if you're blessed and God willing, you're gonna be an adult far longer than you're gonna be a child. Like childhood is fleeting. And I didn't really get to experience that because of all of the things that I did. So don't rush to grow, to be, for the sake of just growing, just go through the process. Because it's a beautiful thing when you live life in that way.
Yeah, definitely. Beautiful, beautiful words. So now we are going to do a quick switch in the interview in
Okay.
topic. As you can see behind me, there's a book. Yeah, there we go. Behind me.
Uh,
There's a book that says The Music of My Life. That book is my first book that I wrote, first of three that I wrote about my journey with bipolar disorder.
mm,
So, and music therapy. So,
okay.
with that said, my question to you is what type of music do you like?
What type of music do I like? I mean, off the top, when I hear that, first thing come to mind is I like hip hop music. I like hip hop music. I like R&B music.
Mm,
It's how I was socialized. That's like my music of preference. I understand the culture. That's where I
yeah.
come from. Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to think of a song that best describes your journey, what would it be and why?
See, now that's interesting because if I had to pick that song, that it wouldn't come from hip hop and it wouldn't come from R&B.
Okay.
The song is called Unstoppable, and the song is by Sia.
Who?
Um, love that. Her name's Sia.
Sia?
Sia, yeah, SIA.
SIA. Oh,
Uh,
Sia. Okay. Mm,
yeah. And I love that song, and the reason being is because like it's for me like a redemption song. I've been through so much, uh, so many things that like can destroy a person if allowed to. Uh, it just didn't prevent me from getting to where I am today. I feel like I'm successful today, and I'm walking in my success, and ultimately I'm unstoppable in
okay.
that regard. Nothing I was faced with can stop me.
Cool. Cool. I just found the song. I'm just going to
Yeah,
read just a little bit of it. I smile. I know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down and all through the night time. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what you want to hear. Keep my sunglasses on while I shed a
that
tear.
appeared.
It's never the right time. I'll put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I'll put my armor on. I'm unstoppable.
Right.
I like that. That's really
Yeah, for
very much
sure.
so. Cool, cool. I'll be listening to that today when I
Hmm.
end this podcast. But so how can we stay in touch with you? What are your social media handles?
My social media, I'm just now dabbing into social media. It's not something that I've been heavily involved in, doing the self work and all that. But to put my businesses out there and stuff like that, I have started dabbling into social media. I'm on TikTok, um, ReemHub official. That's ReemOffiCial. Uh, you can reach me at reemhub.com. That is my website, my platform, my hub, my place of business. So that's my home. That's my central home on the internet. I have a free community there that I encourage those to join. Uh, that's where you can go get the free course access, free books, free guidance. We talk all things affiliate marketing there, and that
Hmm.
is at community.reemhub, which is ReemHub.com.
Cool. Cool. Love it. Love it. Well, Stephen, it's been a pleasure having you as a guest on our show for this new year, this new 2025.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for sharing your story, being so vulnerable with us, and being so honest with us. As a Black male, having you be so transparent, I'm sure it's going to help other males, men, to be transparent, to share their stories, and so that they can actually overcome. Because if you can be resilient, anyone can be resilient. It's possible for anyone. So thank you
It's
so very much.
Look, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here. It was fun. I love sitting and doing this with you. This is real therapeutic. And I do hope that it do encourage men to open up, and to find that inner strength, man, because all of the strongholds, those barriers that we have on us, that it just keeps us down. And we got to strengthen each other. We absolutely got to strengthen each other. And it's really, really, really important because if you think about simple concepts real quick, like something like, for example, if I call one of my buddies, let's go to the movies, that's to be considered kind of weird. Like, you want to go to the movies with me for? Something that we love to do as kids, right? Go to the mall, let's go shopping, let's go do this. But now these days, a man can't call a man and say, man, let's go catch a movie or let's go do certain type of things because of the stigma that may be put
Yeah,
on it from different. So yeah, I do hope people be more transparent, especially men, especially Black men,
yeah,
and I hope that they benefit or get or take anything from this. Uh, that'd be a true blessing.
cool. Love it.
Uh,
Love it. Well, guys, and to all you resilient minds out there, until next time, please subscribe to us on all our platforms and don't forget to rate the show and leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Also, join the community of resilient minds and sign up for our monthly newsletter at www.onlycleone.com. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, The Music of My Life, on Amazon Marketplaces to get to know me better. If you can think of one person that will receive value from today's show or connect with Stephen's testimonial, please share it with them. Feel free to take a screenshot of this week's episode of the podcast and tag us on Instagram. You can tag myself at Only Cleone or Resilient Minds 365 and today's guest at ReemHub Official on Instagram. And remember, mental health is not a death sentence. Despite your illness, you can strive, thrive, and live in a life of abundance. Until next time, I'm Cleone Crawford, and I'm signing off.